Hello and welcome to the H&M Show. Hello, everybody out there. Boy, there's a good crowd out there. I love it. It's awesome to see all of you folks. I got to say, I am Michael, and I usually say, here's Heather, but Heather's not here, but that's okay. She, every week she asks me, she says, what does H&M stand for? Well, H this week stands for hangouts, and M stands for messages. Even though we're not really talking about hangouts, we kind of are. And to get to that, and our topic this week, I'm going to introduce to you folks, and let me screen share my. I'm showing them your Google Plus page, by the way, Dencil. So this is Dencil Smith. Dencil Smith is going to talk to us today about Google Voice. Really cool. He's big time into Project Fi. He's into Google Hangouts. He's a great top contributor, been around for a while, longer than I have. And but it's great. I've seen it. I met him at the last 2 or 3 now, and it's just freaking incredible. It's just awesome. Dencil, say hello to everyone.
Hey guys, this is Dencil speaking. What Mike forgot to mention also is Aloe and on
Oh,
Duo
that's
too.
right. That's right. That's right. Gosh, I swear to God, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. But you're right. And actually, we went to. I think didn't we both go to the same meeting last time for the Aloe and Duo, or were you in a different one? I can't remember if we went out to a session.
Oh,
I can never
no,
remember
I
who's
don't
in
do
there.
what I did not do this time.
I,
Yeah,
that was
we were. I think it was one of the meetings, but I forgot which one it was. I know before we were in Hangouts together,
that's right.
and before that we were general meetup together.
Yep, you got it. Good stuff. All right. Well, good. This is awesome. Hey, Denzel, everybody out there, just so everybody knows, um, I see a lot of community members out there. You guys are awesome. Love seeing you guys, and got some people. We got someone in from Australia, Ross, who is in our community. She's in from Australia. I think that's awesome that she comes on. So I have to do a shout out there. I see Bill Graham from Belize, all the way from Belize. So there you go. We got people from around the world watching this show tonight, which is pretty awesome. I see my son stepped in. Stephen Daniels is out there. Bill Graham, Sheila Hensley, Andrew Hatchett, and we have your real estate whispers now out there. How are you, young lady, down in New Orleans? And then Scott Scowcroft. So we got some community members and some non-community members, but it's a good mix out there. This is going to be a good one. I think you're going to enjoy this one, folks. So not a lot of screen sharing. I'll pull up some stuff every once in a while as Denzel's talking from the Google Voice website, but Denzel, we're looking forward to it, dude. I mean, some of the stuff you were telling me right before we got in here was so cool. It was so cool. I don't.
So
Go ahead.
I, I guess, Mike. I guess since we have international people on the line.
Yeah.
I guess I could just get this out the way. Well, unfortunately, one of the cons for Google Voice is right now it's only available in the United States.
Oh, is it?
And
Okay.
so, there's ways around it, but I wouldn't recommend trying to do it, which is pretty much just trying to get a US number, in order to get Google
Right.
Voice and have use it overseas. But other
Right.
than that, unfortunately, you can't use Google Voice outside the United States. And that includes US territories like Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and stuff, which is what I discussed with Mike before this call. And unfortunately, I wish that it could expand internationally because that would be great. Because I'm sure people around the world have a use for Google Voice because it's one of those products that Google have that they had for a long time after they got it from Grand Central, and it's very useful for many applications,
Mhm.
depending on what you want to use it for, and it's very simple to use. So some of the pros for Google Voice.
But real quick, I would just want to add while you're talking about that, because you can actually make international calls. It's just it can't be used outside of the continent. Is that correct? Or you can't sign up for it
No,
outside the continent.
because so how Google Voice you can
Mm-hmm.
set up, Mike, is pretty much is you have to link it when you do the Google Voice setup. You have to link it to a US number.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just give you a scenario with one of my friends who has a Puerto Rican number. He lives here in the United States, but he wants to get Google Voice, but his cell phone is a Puerto Rican number, even though he has Verizon. So pretty much he signed up for Google Voice. Everybody who have a Google account could sign up for it. So he signed up for Google Voice. He got a Google Voice number. Then it came to the phone linking part. So with the phone linking, you have to link it to a US number.
Oh, I got
The
you.
reason why you have to link to a US number is that when somebody calls you, Google Voice would forward the call via your US number to get to you.
Okay.
So he was unable to receive calls because his number is a Puerto Rican number, which I guess Google in this case classified as international, since I guess the U.S. territory is not considered, mainland United States numbers.
Right. Right.
So he was unable to receive calls. A little workaround for that is that he pretty much integrated with Hangouts, which allowed him to at least make calls because Hangouts use voice over IP. So it kind of like, it was a loophole regarding the requirement of
Mm,
linking it to a US number. But at the same time, he still was unable to receive because he didn't have a US number to, have the number forward through. So
okay.
that's the reason why, international calls won't work for that reason, because Google, needs to forward it through, I guess, a US number. And I guess I don't know the real reason why they don't do international numbers, but I
Mhm.
figure it's because it will be expensive to do that.
Right.
Um, but that's the reason why.
Okay, cool. And
But
that's not North America, right? That is just USA only. I mean,
mostly
it's
USA.
no
I
Canada,
know there's
no.
some cases here and there you might see people from Canada or Mexico might have found like a way around it just to have it linked,
Hmm.
or like, but that's like somebody got lucky.
Right.
I know
I got
before
you.
in the past somebody Google Voice actually posted on the forum that they happened to magically got their Puerto Rican number to actually link, and it worked. But that's just one of those things where you just throw a Hail Mary and hopefully it works.
I got you. Okay.
So I mean, you could try, but it's no guarantee.
All right, let's talk about some of those benefits because I know I had questions for you, and I'll probably ask them again just so they're recorded this time. But yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, that's going to be so cool to talk about. So go ahead, tell me some of
All
the
right.
benefits.
So I just go over the cons, which is very few. So one of the cons, like we just discussed, is pretty much you can't, link it to an international number, which prevents you from having it outside the U.S. mainland. Another con, which is pretty significant if you thought of using Google Voice as like your main phone number, is that you can't dial 911 with Google Voice. So it's one of those things where, if you want to use your main number, you have to consider that because,
Hmm.
you just never know when you're in emergency and you need, dial 911. So that will be a critical factor in that case.
Well, that's some great
But
advice though, because what you're saying there is that go ahead and have the two different numbers. Be the same phone, but two different numbers always,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's kind of a good advice there, just for the 911 purposes, etc. Good, good
yeah.
answer.
And let's just touch on purposes for a second since you brought up Mike.
Okay.
So, like I was on to Mike before, is that some purposes for Google Voice is like, let's say you're a business and you're starting up, and let's say you want to interact with your customers. Then you can get a Google Voice number on the side so that you give out to customers where they don't have your personal number. But let's say you have a flower shop and somebody wants to change their order from roses to lilies or something like that. They could
Hmm.
text you, hey, this is customer. Here's my customer number. I want to change the flowers. So that way, it's another way besides email stuff you could interact with a customer, for example. Or another way, for purposes, is that I have one of my coworkers. He used to use Google Voice just because it was a cheaper international calling rate than Verizon. So Google Voice for him was a way to call his family in like Colombia and Venezuela and like different countries without having to pay the fee that Verizon was charging to call international numbers. And then, like for me personally, when I first got Google Voice, it was more of when I went to a website. Let's say I wanted to buy something, I didn't really want to like sign up, but they made me give like a phone number and stuff. And I was kind of wary of giving up my phone number because sometimes I'll get spam calls as a result. So I'll give my Google Voice number. So if anything, you know, the spam will come via Google Voice number, and I could easily spam block it, and I don't have to worry about my personal phone number ringing all the time.
Yeah, and you were
So those
talking
are,
about that, how good that is, how that actually is pretty good. They have a good system, right?
yeah, because like Google have I guess this whole list of different spam numbers
Hmm.
where they automatically block the call or text message to your Google Voice number, and pretty much that will help you not receive a phone call on when the phone call text messages. And there's like a spam section of Google Voice, whether it's the Apple website, where you could actually go there and you can see all the spam calls and spam texts. And you're probably wondering, why would they show me all the spam calls and texts? Because sometimes maybe it'll accidentally have a legit number that was calling you or trying to text you going to spam, so you could unblock it. So you could actually go there and you could do that. And on top of that, let's say you got a phone call or text that it's a spam, and you don't want to come in again, you could actually go on Google's website or app
Yeah,
and actually block it as spam.
that's awesome.
So
That's so
that's
awesome.
pretty cool, and it really helps out when it comes to like spam calling and spam blocking. And I feel like it works more efficiently than, like, let's say for like your regular carrier, because like let's say I get a phone call on my regular T-Mobile number, for example. I could block it on my phone or mark it as spam, but it still will come in again. It'll probably
Hmm.
come in again and say, "Oh, spam caller," but it'll still come in again. Versus Google Voice, your phone wouldn't ring, your
Hmm.
phone wouldn't make a notification sound because it's like a text message. It would just go
Hmm.
into the spam folder, and unless you go into spam folder manually, you'll never know about it.
That's nice. That's awesome. Now, also, since you're mentioning SMS messages, you can actually have those emailed to you too, right? Those SMS messages that you get from Google Voice, send it to your email. You can have it set up that way, right?
So, regarding sending to your email, so when you set up Google Voice and you have your email address, um there I don't know if they still allow this to happen, but it used to like store in terms of you can have it forward to your email address. So every time you get a text message,
Mm-hmm.
it will appear in your inbox like in Gmail as if it's like a, let's say, a new email thread. I personally haven't done that
Okay.
since Google Voice came out, ever since Hangouts got the integration. So I'm not sure if that's still possible.
Okay.
So
It's
I don't want
showing it. It's showing it on their website, and I'm showing a screen where it has it. So I
to.
assume
Okay,
it
if it's
does.
showing on the website, then yeah. But pretty much how that works, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much I believe you can't have Hangouts integration. You have to use Google Voice itself.
Oh, okay.
And somebody sends you a text message, it will go to your Google Voice number and it'll also appear in your inbox. And you can actually reply via your email in your Gmail,
Oh,
and it will
wow.
send that back to their phone number.
Oh,
So you could
nice.
actually reply via Gmail with the email address for the message that you got, or you could reply via Google Voice number.
That's great for business.
So, like,
You could answer
let's say,
that.
for example, that you're traveling and for some reason you only could access your email. In that case, you could reply to a text message that you got via Google Voice because it'll be as an email.
Mm-hmm.
It'll appear as an email that you got. So that's one of the perks of that. The only thing that was on to Mike earlier also is that, unfortunately, when it comes to text messages, you can't send to a 5 or 6 digit short code number, which
Mm.
I don't feel like is a real hamper, or a real down for Google Voice. But I know some people, like they want to like mess with their banking, like banks or whatever, to like get
Mm-hmm.
information for their accounts, that they
Mm-hmm.
might find this as a downfall. But I don't feel like this will be a big hamper when it comes to using Google Voice.
Gotcha.
Um, some of the other pros of using Google Voice is that with SMS, you also have MS now. When Google Voice first launched, it never had MS,
Nice. That's
and you could
awesome.
actually send a MS message up to 2 megabytes and receive one up to 2 megabytes, and it will come through via the Google Voice app or via Hangouts integration. So I believe that's a big plus because everybody loves saying pictures and stuff like that.
Oh my
And
gosh, yes.
2 megabytes is actually, most carriers like T-Mobile, for example, is only 1 megabyte is usually the limit. So 2 megabytes actually to me is generous compared to like T-Mobile or other carriers like AT&T, Sprint, Verizon. So most pictures that you send probably isn't going to be more than 2 megabytes. So I don't think that limit is like a big problem for people. Another good for Google Voice is like, so you have one number and it could be for multiple devices. And it's like a new dedicated number that can link to your cell phone, your house phone, your work phone, or any other line. And so whenever somebody calls your Google Voice number, it will ring every device linked to your account. And you could, of course, also make outgoing calls from all these devices as well, even including your computer. No matter which device you do dial from, the receiver caller ID will show it's your Google Voice number. So, with
That
this,
is so great.
it has a lot of versatility. And like I was telling Mike before,
It's awesome.
before it started, is that one of the versatilities is one, you could record a call, and two, you could actually switch devices. So regarding switching devices, all you have to do is pretty much when you answer the call Google Voice, you just have to tap star, and then all of a sudden, all your other device that's linked to Google Voice will start ringing, and you can pick up that device and answer, and it will transfer the call to that device.
That is
So,
so stinking
like a
cool. I
little
love it.
example that I gave Mike is, let's say I'm right here on my desktop, like it's on, I'm just talking to somebody on my desktop with Google Voice, and let's say I have food in the kitchen that's cooking, and I can't bring my entire desktop into the kitchen, so I could just click the start button, have like my cell phone that's looking at the Google Voice ring, and I could answer from my cell phone, and then I could just move into the kitchen, and all of a sudden, I'm
So
still on the
awesome.
call.
So awesome.
Like and then I could just do vice versa when I'm back to my desktop and have my computer ring again, answer from my computer.
That
Like
is so
that's something
great.
that you cannot do with a regular phone, and I think that's like a huge plus to Google Voice.
That's a
Another
big
thing,
deal. That's a big deal. I mean, that's just so awesome having that go to all the devices like that as well. So having
yeah,
all three of them ring,
yeah, and me for me, I have two. So I have two cell phones. I have an iPad. I have my laptop. I have my desktop. So it's like the chances of you not being able to get to me with Google Voice is slim. Like I have to have like a blackout, all powers down, cell phone drain. Like it has to be really, really like a lot of circumstances for me to not be able to answer my Google Voice number.
That's interesting.
And then a number for the recording call part that I mentioned also is a lot of situations where, let's say, your mom wants you to plan Thanksgiving, and she's giving you like a laundry list of stuff to bring, and let's say you're not gonna remember that, you don't have a pen or pencil to write down, you can record a call. So to record a call, when our participants are on the call, just answer the call with your Google Voice number and just press 4. When you press 4, all people on the call,
Conversation, all conversation.
yeah. So all people on the call will hear an announcement that the recording has begun, and then you have to just tap 4, and then you hear another announcement that the recording has ended. And hanging
Nice.
up also ends the recording, even if you forget to tap 4, and then that recording for your entire call will appear in your voicemail tab on Google Voice,
That's
and so
awesome.
that you could replay it, and you could I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this, but I believe you could end up downloading it, so you could end up like sending it to people, whatever. But it's a great way, if you don't think you remember everything that's going on in the call and you need to like remember it, you could record a call, and everybody will know the call is recording, so nobody could say that, hey, I didn't know you recorded me, and just in case you forgot, because they heard the announcement, and it's a great way,
Well,
to get.
instead of doing like a post-it note, let's say you're
Yeah,
taking a number of you're talking to in my business construction, I'm talking to a contractor. I can immediately just say, okay, what's your number, and then repeat it, or he says it, and it's recording all that. Let me ask you this:
yeah.
does it transcript it too, or does it just come as video? I mean, audio. Excuse me,
It
audio.
just comes as an audio.
Okay,
I
that's
know
fine. There's nothing wrong
for
with that.
transcripts, it does transcript for like if a legit voicemail, like somebody leave you a voicemail because you didn't answer your Google Voice
Right.
number,
Okay.
it will do a transcript of that. But recording, I've done it when it first came out and I first did it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have a transcript. It's just pretty much like a play button. It'll
Mm-hmm.
play back to you.
Okay.
Um, and I don't, and like even on the Google Voice website for recording a call, it doesn't mention having a transcript, so I don't
Right.
believe they
Right.
incorporated that. But you just never know. Google Voice is starting to like have updates again, and they recently just have on like a beta version that's public, which pretty much allows you to have voice over IP capabilities like Hangouts. So instead of so what voice over IP allows is that you could receive your voice call over data, which is what Hangouts does to Google Voice right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the perks of that, like I was on to the mic before, is excuse me. So Google Voice right now, if you only have the app on your phone, it call forwards to your regular cell phone number. So pretty much it will ring as if your regular phone number is ringing, and in that way, you're able to answer the phone on the go, and it's through your mobile carrier, and you're using your mobile carrier minutes. So most people right now have unlimited minutes, so using your mobile carrier minutes won't matter.
Yeah.
Um, so with Hangouts integration with Google Voice, what it allows you to do is now your call come through Hangouts, which uses data. So let's say you are on a mobile carrier that has minute, and is constrained. So you could use Hangouts, and even if you don't want to use data, you could just have your phone or device on Wi-Fi, and you could get your calls without having to use your minutes. So that's voice over IP, which uses calls with data.
Yeah.
The only downside to that, Mike and everybody else, is that with call going through data, let's say your internet connection drop
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah.
your data connection goes poor or something, you could lose the call.
I got you.
Versus like if you're going through your minutes, as long as you have a signal, you always be on the call.
Got you.
So that's pretty much voice over IP in a nutshell, and that's what Hangouts does for Google Voice, is allow you to have more flexibility when it comes to receiving and making calls. But with the recent Google Voice beta that's public, it has voice over IP now built into Google Voice, where you could have some of those features that Hangouts allows Google Voice to have. So if
Nice.
you're not a fan of Hangouts, which I know some people aren't, and
Mm-hmm.
you want that voice over IP feature, now you have the opportunity to beta test it and hopefully improve the product so it could be a standalone Google Voice app that you could do everything that Hangouts gave Google Voice.
Very nice. All right, there's some great comments out here, so I'm going to pop out to those real quick, bring them up on screen. One
Okay.
was from Ross, who is the one in Australia. She says, when is it expected to be available outside of the U.S.? And I don't know, and I don't think it is, but you can, do you know?
Well, right now, Google has not announced any plans to make it outside the United States. It is one of the feedbacks that I'll pretty much encourage to keep submitting,
Yeah.
and hopefully, one day they'll allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now they already allow international calls, and all those like a calling rate. I'm sure like they could make the same thing where
Mm-hmm.
Google Voice, like let's say for example in Australia, let's say hopefully they can make Google Voice where in Australia, people who talk to each other in Australia have Google Voice and talk to them for free. And let's say they want to talk to somebody from the United States, they have to just pay the international calling rate or texting rate.
Right, exactly.
At least that will be an acceptable solution where everybody could enjoy the features, but at the same time, be able to
So,
come everywhere around the world.
so the biggest
But
thing here is send feedback. Try and send
yeah,
feedback. If it's something you think would
just
be interesting to you, send feedback. That's
yeah, like
always.
because the international population is a lot bigger than the United States, and I'm sure people all over the world will love it. So, no plans have been announced, but at most we could just say is to send feedback, and hopefully in the future it starts to
Mm-hmm.
expand into different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not all countries at the same time, but just any expansion is better than none.
Absolutely. I love what Bill said because you said this to me earlier. Switch to another device before the battery goes dead. Because that's the example you gave me in the room beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there talking on my phone and I want to switch over to the computer. I just hit is it star or four? Four?
For
Star.
switching devices, it's star. For
Star.
recording calls, it's 4.
Recording is four. Okay, I knew I'd mess that up. So there you go. Mark
Yeah.
Barris. This is a great question from Mark. Mark's out in California. Mark asked question: when I make a call, it's asking if I want to connect you via Hangouts or Home. When I make a
Hangouts
call, it's
or
asking.
Google Home, like
Yeah, I guess. No, I think Hangouts are Home, like your home phone, or your Hangouts, maybe, or something.
oh,
Maybe I don't
so
know.
so pretty much in that case, I was is if that's the case, I'll assume that maybe you have more than one numbers linked to your Google Voice because you could link more than one numbers,
Hmm.
and it's just probably wanting to know because sometimes Google Voice have an option where when you
Which one
dial
you want
now,
to answer
it'll
on?
either one it'll show you. Let's say, all right, so let's say I had Google Voice linked to my T-Mobile number. Let's say I'm down on Google Voice. You have a T-Mobile phone. So Google Voice has an option where when I'm dialing out, it'll either show my Google Voice number to the recipient, or it'll show my T-Mobile number to the recipient. So
Hmm.
they will. So the reason why that is Google want to give you the option where you don't want somebody to know your Google Voice number, but your call will be a Google Voice number.
Hmm.
So I know you could link more than one numbers to Google Voice. I have never done that. So, I'm assuming that the reason why it gives you the option is because you have more than one number linked to your
Link
Google
to it.
Voice.
That
So
makes
it's
total sense.
hey, which
What?
device do you
Mm-hmm.
want your number going through?
I got you. Okay, good. And the next one is from Scott Scowcroft, who's over in Washington State and I believe in Seattle. He says, wondering about audio quality for Google Voice. How about the recording quality? I guess it's as good as any VoIP that you have
Yeah,
anyway, right?
yeah, it's pretty much as good. Like as long as the call is not breaking up or something, the call is pretty crisp. Like I've never had like a recording where it's like I can't understand what is going on or what was said. So as long as if you're using voice over IP and your data connection good, as long as that's good, or if you're using your cell phone, your T-Mobile carrier, whatever Verizon, AT&T, or Sprint, and your cell phone connection good, it should be pretty crisp and you should be able to hear everything that's being said.
Good. All right. That's it on the comments for right now. I'm sure there'll be some more. What else we got? What are the goodies?
Or goodies.
That's right.
So pretty much
What about like conference
Google
calls? You
Voice.
can do conference calls, can't you?
Yeah. So conference calls, I know. So conference calls, I don't know how much people you going to have it on a conference call. I have done where it's like 3 people, like
Mm-hmm.
me and 2 other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say conference call. Conference call sounds like like a ton of people,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I was able to make a call with at least 2 people on the call at the same time. So I'll just leave it as that. I don't want to say you can do more than 3 people because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tested out personally, so I don't want to say that. And you try to do it and it doesn't work out for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you could at least have more than 1 person on a call with you. But pretty much for Google Voice also you could like I told Mike, you could port numbers. You could
Yeah.
port out Google Voice to like a carrier, or you could port in from a carrier to Google Voice. The down I wouldn't want to say it's too much of a downside, but one of the quirks is that sometimes some numbers you can't port out or port in, and when you're porting numbers out or in, it could take days to port. So in those days to port, it could be dead time. So like nobody could like reach you in terms of or texting, but it's good in the case of, let's say you want to keep like the example that I gave to Mike is, let's say you have a family plan, and let's say one person on your family plan wants to have their own service,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have a free number in your family. Let's say you want to keep that number, you could port it to Google Voice, so you could keep that number and you can use that number now for with the Google Voice enhancement and features.
Mm.
So in that case, you don't have to lose a number that people already know,
Yeah, that's
and now
good.
you could use it for Google Voice.
That's
So
why I started this whole thing off. It's good to have both numbers. I think it's better to have both numbers, in my opinion. Having your
yeah,
regular number that you had and then have a Google Voice number, as opposed to porting them together, making them one.
yeah.
Or if they, and then you got to worry about availability. Is your number even available to be ported? Then are you willing to give a whole new number? You got to deal with all that different kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
because telling everybody, hey, I have a
yeah,
new phone number,
yeah, yeah,
it's a hassle because you might forget somebody, and
yeah, yeah.
somebody might not want to save it or they have bad memory and they forgot to
Mm-hmm.
write it down. So it's a good thing, to have an option. The only thing with this, there is a fee. Like let's say if your port number from like one of the cell phone service company like Verizon, AT&T, there's a $20 fee to port it into Google Voice.
Mm-hmm.
But after that $20 fee, pretty much at least you don't have to pay for Google Voice service in terms of like making calls or texts.
All
So
right.
I guess yeah, you have to pay upfront fee of $20,
Yeah.
but it won't be like a monthly payment of $20. So I guess that's a good thing about it.
Yeah,
And
you were talking about that beforehand too. Just to reiterate, weren't you talking about? You made me think of it when you said something. I don't know what it was, but it was a couple of seconds. I didn't want it to get away. Screening callers, your ability to screen.
yeah,
Did you touch on that or already,
so
or just? I
I
know you
didn't
said
touch on
about
that, but
blocking.
thanks for bringing it up because
Yeah.
in all honesty, I forgot. I won't say I forgot about it, but
Right.
it haven't like crossed my mind to bring it up.
Okay.
So pretty much Google Voice would link your address book like in your Google like contacts like google.com. So it'll link that to your Google Voice. So there's an option in Google Voice where unknown numbers. So like let's say a number that you don't have stored as your Google Voice in one of your Google contacts would have to give like a voice. Say let's say when you call it, it'll say like state your name to the to a person if they're calling from a number that is not in your contacts, and they'll have to state their name. And then when you pick up the call, Google Voice will pretty much replay that recording. And if you don't recognize that person or whoever's talking on the phone, you could just reject the call and not accept the call.
That's great.
So it's great for like, for example, it could be like, let's for example, of like a business and you want to make sure it's not a spam caller,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody has to say their name when they call in so you can verify, oh, okay, I know this person, the call coming through. Or you can say, no, I don't know this person, reject the call. So that's a good way to screen calls that you don't have as your contacts in your contacts at google.com. So in my opinion, that's one of the best features Google Voice.
Absolutely.
Can you
Absolutely. I
imagine
agree with
if you
you.
had that for your regular cell
I
phone service?
know. I
Like,
know.
I had
I
this. So
know.
most people you see an unknown call, and for me personally, when I see an unknown number, I will let it ring, go to
That's right.
voicemail, listen to the voicemail if they do a voicemail, see if I recognize the person,
That's
and
right.
I'll call out the number. But if somebody could say, this is XYZ,
Yeah.
and pick up, and okay, I know this person, then I could avoid all of that.
I
You
so
know.
agree. I so agree. That's
So
awesome.
thanks for bringing it up, Mike. But
No, it's
but
all
yeah,
right.
that is one of the great features of Google Voice. Is like
Yeah.
if somebody is calling from a number that you don't recognize, you can still accept the call in a way where they have to state their name or whatever, and you could answer it, or you could just reject it if it's like a spam caller or somebody you don't want to talk to.
That's great.
You know.
Yes, absolutely. Now, can you do like personalized greetings, like for specific numbers? If somebody calls you, can I have a greeting for each? Like if I have a business, or if I want to, if I know like a couple family members have my Google Voice number, even though I'm using my other number as my personal number, but I want to make a greeting for whoever calls. Is that? I think it used to be a possibility to do that. And only thing is, I'm trying to ask and see if that's still a possibility, or do you know?
I know you can make a greeting, and I don't know how personalized you can make it. Hold on, give me a second, real quick.
No, that's
Let
fine.
me
No
see.
problem. No problem. Yeah, and if you
Yeah,
guys
but
have any
those.
questions out there, feel free to throw some questions out there. I saw that you were working on some stuff and things like that, but
Yeah,
okay.
but I'm just gonna look at the menu real quick, Mike. But just talk about the greetings thing that Mike was mentioning. It's pretty much that. Let's say for specific people, I want them to like voicemail say, hey, just leave me like a text message.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want it for like people that don't, is not in a specific, I guess group of people or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
then you could have them have a general message that says, hey, this is XYZ, leave a name and number, stuff like that. So in that case, you could personalize it across on different people. So when it comes to the greeting, Mike, you could set a custom voicemail, and but it pretty much have all the callers here. So
So it's like
unfortunately, it
per
doesn't look like
person or whatever, right? I mean, it would
yeah,
be a
but unfortunately, it doesn't
per
look like you
number.
could do it per person.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, that makes
I
sense.
mean, yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, in Google Voice, uh, I'm sorry, Mike, I take that back. It
Okay.
so you can all right. So in Google Voice, you can make the
Mm-hmm.
custom greeting, and at first, it's for everybody. So in that way, it won't be per person. But Google Voice does have and like if you're on the website, a groups and a circles option. So if you go to contacts at google.com, so you know how you can make different groups, Mike? Like you could let's say you could put coworkers,
Mm-hmm.
and you could select different contexts and put
Yes.
I in each contact and edit, you could put this contact as a coworker and put them in the group of coworkers, right?
Yes.
So Google Voice on the website will pull these groups that you make in your contacts at the Google.com, and
Nice.
there's a tab called Groups and Circles in Google Voice, and in that circle, you could make a greeting for those separate groups in that circle or group,
Perfect.
whatever you
Perfect.
call it. So
Perfect.
in that way, yes, you can make a customized greeting for that group. So, and then on top of that, they also have another option where for anonymous callers, which is mean callers that you don't have, a number stored for, you
Mm-hmm.
could have a separate customized, greeting for those.
That's
So
awesome.
pretty
That's
much
awesome.
you have so it's pretty much there's gonna be three greetings that you could have. You could have a greeting for all your contacts, which is pretty much everybody that's a not anonymous caller and not in the group. Then you could have an greeting for everybody in the group, in a specific group, and then you can have a greeting for anonymous callers.
Okay.
But first, you have to go to contacts.google.com and create these groups first
Okay.
before you can utilize the option to have personalized greeting for certain people.
Well, that's fair. That makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that you have to kind of set up those groups ahead of time
Yeah.
so those
So
people
like,
are set
yeah,
up.
right away you can't do it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you set up the groups on contactgoogle.com, then you can do it.
Perfect. All right. Bill has a question out there. I thought this was a pretty good one. He says, if the call is rejected, does it hang up or transfer to voicemail?
It'll go to voicemail. So it'll pretty much have the person leave a voicemail if they want to leave a voicemail, and if they leave a voicemail, then pretty much they'll just hang up the call and that's it. But on your side, the phone will stop ringing.
Oh,
Like so, on your
nice.
side, you pretty much hang up. But on their side, the caller side, they have an
Good.
option to leave a voicemail, and if not, then they'll just hang up. They'll just hang up the call.
Nice. All right. Is there um, just because I've never seen the interface, is there like a mobile app for Google Voice on your phone? Is that what it is, or
Yeah,
how does
there's
that
a
work?
mobile app. So there's no app for like a computer. You have to just go to the Google website. But for the phone, there's a mobile app for Android and iOS. And usually, in order to get the phone, in order to get the phone call coming in via your regular, carrier
Mm-hmm.
number, you have to have Google Voice app on the phone, and you have to at least open it once in order to have the calls coming to your carrier number. If you have the Hangouts integration, you do not need the Google Voice app on your phone because all your calls and text messages will come through the
Going
Hangouts
through
app.
there. Oh, okay. So,
So
hey, that's
even
since you brought it up. Hold on.
even if you're using Hangouts,
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk
so
about Hangouts and Google Voice, their integration and how that all works and stuff. Because those are.
so
Go ahead.
so pretty much when you link Google Voice to Hangouts, that will pretty much have all the calls coming through Hangouts via voice over IP, and you can have all the text coming in via Hangouts. And for that, it'll work similar to like Google Voice separately, but now you could get calls via data connection, so you don't have to rely on pretty much a mobile carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much any device that you have Hangouts on, the calls will come through, and you get texts on all those devices. Hangouts just seem as more versatile right now because you can get calls via data versus like a cellular network. So let's say like you're on the ground. Let's say for example, I'm in a subway in New York City and you have Wi-Fi, on the subway station, but your cell phone connection might be non-existent in terms of like your mobile service.
Mm-hmm.
Then in that case, you can still receive Google Voice calls via Hangouts because you can to Wi-Fi. Versus if you use Google Voice, where you
Nice.
need a mobile network to be active, you want to have receive or send calls because you don't have a mobile service connection.
Yeah,
So
or your phone
in that
does.
way, yeah. So in that way, Hangouts provide like another option for Google Voice users in terms of when it comes to calling. Texting wise, it doesn't really make a much of a difference because Google Voice always via the Google Voice app always use data connection to text. So it doesn't be you don't get a much bigger benefit via Hangouts,
Mm-hmm.
but for calling feature wise, you get a bigger benefits. But now, as I said earlier, with Google Voice Beta, where they have, voice over IP for the Google Voice app that they're testing out. Eventually, that will pretty much have the same features as Hangouts, so you won't need Hangouts anymore.
Wow.
On one feature that I didn't mention that I thought I will bring up too, via Google Voice, well, I guess you could say two features, is one, they have a do not disturb feature, where if you enable do not disturb, let's say somebody tries to call you within, let's say you have it enabled for 2 hours, somebody tries to call you in those 2 hours, then go to voicemail, pretty much your phone won't ring. So you have a do not disturb option where, people will not be able to disturb you, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. So, yeah, you're in a meeting or whatever, or you're involved
Yep.
in something.
So like, yep, like for example, yeah, like you meeting. So like, let's say 2 hours, meetings for 2 hours, and let's say if you people are gonna call you, you said do not disturb, and for those 2 hours, as soon as somebody calls you, it goes right to voicemail, and then they can leave you a voicemail, or it'll just have a missed call from this person. So, and then after those 2 hours, it automatically end automatically, and then calls will come in normally again.
Nice.
So I think that was very helpful, because just like with cell phone, and like sometimes you enter a meeting, you feel silence your cell phone.
Absolutely.
You just silence your calls in a way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's great.
And then the second feature that I wanted to bring up was, if you get a missed call, let's say you're on the go and you don't have Google Voice app stored on your installed on your phone, you have an option to send missed calls to your email. So if you have a missed call, you get an email from Google Voice saying
that's
hey,
convenient.
this person trying to call you.
Yeah, that's convenient. Very nice. Let's see. Sheila asks, let me get to that real quick. She said, if you've forgotten your Google number, where do you find it? There you go.
If you forgot your Google Voice number?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just to go to www.googlevoice.com/voice, log into your
account?
Google Voice account via your Google account, and literally your Google Voice number will be on the bottom left, right before underneath your menu. It'll literally show your number. So if you ever forget, you just go to that website and you'll see it right there.
Good stuff. Awesome. All right. Anything else you can think of? I think this has been a good 45 minutes or so. This has been great, and we got a lot of questions answered. Do you have anything else, or anything else you can think of? I think you covered a ton.
those are the biggest points of Google Voice that I think will be most useful for everybody, and it's something that I strongly recommend, especially if you're traveling. And let's say I know some people, when you're traveling, let's say for Verizon, in other countries, use data, and just making calls from those countries, could be rather expensive. And like if you use Google Voice for Hangouts, for example, and use a voice over IP and connecting to let's say a hotel Wi-Fi and stuff like that, it could be a very, very cheap way to still text people back, in the States, or make calls to people in the States pretty much free. Because the calls will be linked to your mobile number via data, so you won't get charged for your mobile minutes via international. You could text and you won't get charged international fee for texting or anything like that, because everything will be through Google Voice. And for me personally, I like traveling a lot, not so much internationally, but just never know each other internationally. You're like, hey, I want to still call and text my family members and not pay the price. So this is a way where you could do that without paying extra.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And Miss Sheila actually answered back. She says your number is also in your contacts. I was surprised at that. There you go. How about that? There you go. All right, we're going to get right into that's right, exactly. We're going to get right into the next segment, which is Tech in the News. So let's get into that part of it. We're going to get Tech in the News, and Dencil, you feel free to jump in on anything. If you've heard the same thing or you want to add anything to it, feel free to do so. All right,
No problem.
I'm going to the first thing that I saw, and these are things that either pop up on my Pixel phone as news or I see out there from all the different things and channels and stuff like that. The first one here says Google Chrome adds a new emoji right-click shortcut. I don't know if anybody. I talked about this one a little bit last week. I don't know if anybody saw that, but
I
that's.
saw it and I love it, Mike.
Do
Let
you?
me tell Let me tell you, Mike. There are so many times where it's like I'm there and it's like, man, I want the perfect emoji, and I'll literally have to go to somewhere where no one has the emoji, copy and paste it, place it somewhere else, and it's like, wow, like emoji is part of our culture now. So
It is. It is. It is.
you
And
need to make it better.
that's right. There you go. All right. And next in the news was Google removes original Pixel and Pixel XL from its online store. They're going straight to, after reading a little bit about it, I saw that they're trying to push the Pixel 2 and Pixel 3 XL, which I'm sure probably is because at I/O they will announce Pixel 3 unless they wait 2 years, which sometimes they do that too. But that's kind of crazy. I thought that was kind of nuts, and I just thought that if anybody heard about that or wants to interject there, I'm sure you heard about that too. I'm not sure if you did, but
Yeah, I heard about it, and I believe it's all about making room for the next Pixel.
yep.
Because I honestly thought it was there longer than people thought because maybe they had excess storage, and then now that the Pixel 3, pretty much Google confirmed the Pixel 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're just pretty much making room and just having like the Pixel 2 cell, because eventually you don't want to overcapacity the Pixel 2 when the Pixel 3 launched, because now you have way too much capacity. So
Yep.
I figured it was around that time where it's time to like reduce capacity and just have
Mm-hmm.
get made for the Pixel 3.
Yep. Alrighty, and the last one that I have for today, very cool, for me, it's just awesome. It says Google Sheets finally supports recording macros, adds row grouping, and better spreadsheet printing. Oh my gosh, this is incredible, because that's one of the things that people won't move from Excel because they have all these macros and stuff. Now it'll record macros of things that you do constantly all the time. You can now record that, and I know that drives some people crazy because people hate spreadsheets, but a nerd like myself, that is stinking huge. I love it. And also, I noticed in reading in this article too, is you can now add check boxes. So anything that you have listed or things like that, you can put check boxes next to it. That's kind of cool too. What were you going to say?
In all honesty, that's one of the biggest news coming from the whole Google Docs
Oh my
side.
God. No doubt. No doubt.
It's big.
No doubt.
One of the first things I learned when I started my first job was macros in Excel.
Right.
That's one of the first things I was taught.
Right, exactly.
So now you have it in Google Sheets.
I know.
It's big.
I know. It's just so crazy. I mean, I can't wait till that one comes out. All right, let's take a quick sneak peek at next week, and we'll do that real quick. All right, next week we have William Rock coming back on again. This time, William is coming in to talk to us about search and Google Assistant. He's going to go over those two things because that's what he is a top contributor for. So that's what we're going to shoot for, having William Rock on. We had him on a couple weeks ago or last week or something like that for the local guides, which he did a fantastic job. And he agreed to come next week and talk to us a little bit about search and Google Assistant, mostly Google Assistant. I can't wait for that one because I use it all the time. I love it. I'm always talking to my phone. I'm talking to all my devices inside my house. So I can't wait for that one. Looking so forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. All right, Dencil, once again, one last time, thank you very much for coming. I really do appreciate it. I learned a lot, and probably I'm going to go ahead and get Google Voice. I'm going to break down and probably do it. I just am. And for those of you community members that are out there, any community members, you're going to get a link in our community so you can come in and talk to Dencil afterward. That's one of the benefits of being a paid member of our community, It's $10 a month. I think there's a lot of value there because you get this kind of stuff. You get to talk to any guest one-on-one. The other thing you get, it's just fun. I mean, it's just fun to be able to sit there. We do workshops, at least one a month. This week we actually did 2 workshops, and we just sit there as a group and all work through things together. I think that's a lot of fun and interactive, and that's the way I try and make it. So anybody that wants to join the community, in the description below of this video, you will see, just sign up for the community. Try it for a month. If you like it, great. If you don't, you can always stop. It goes through your PayPal. Feel free to do that. We love having people in the community. Awesome stuff. Dencil, again, thank you. I really do appreciate you coming on. I love whenever we talk. I love chatting with you. So
anytime, Mike.
All right, cool. All right, thank you very much. All right, let me hit the.